The Tampa Bay Rays have a knack for finding scrappy players who find ways to get on base and aren't necessarily the most concerned with home runs. The 2022 Rays ranked 25th in the majors in home runs and were middle of the pack in both walks and strikeouts. Players such as Randy Arozarena, Ji-Man Choi, and Harold Ramirez are what make the Rays such a sneaky good team year in and year out. Arozarena might be a familiar name because of how historically good he was in the 2020 postseason, in which the Rays made it to the World Series before falling to the Dodgers. Other than Randy, the Rays lineup to the casual baseball fan is foreign. One name that should not be unknown to anyone is Yandy Diaz. Yandy had an amazing season, and it was by and large a career year. 2022 saw Diaz get the most plate appearances, runs, hits, doubles, walks, OPS, and OPS plus in a single season. If we exclude the shortened season in 2020, nearly every stat was a career best this year. In terms of your surface level stats, he hit 33 doubles, walked 78 times compared to only 60 strikeouts. He got on base 40% of the time and maintained a 40% better than league average OPS plus at 140. Yandy Diaz, much like Sean Murphy in last week's video, has a baseball savant page that makes a baseball nerd like myself very happy. His average exit velo, max exit velo, hard hit percentage, K percentage, and walk percentage are all rated as elite. He is in the 90th percentile or more in 9 out of the 14 major baseball savant categories. That's incredible. I searched up a few of his fellow teammates on the Rays, and none of them had more than 3 elite categories. Yandy Diaz is by no means a strict pull hitter. He has a knack for hitting the ball to all fields, especially to the right field gap, which is going to the opposite way. He had nearly half of his 33 doubles go to the opposite field. Out of his 9 home runs, 5 went to the pull side, 1 went to center, and 3 went to the opposite field. All these numbers need to tell you is that Yandy Diaz hits the ball where it is pitched to him. If you don't believe me, Major League Baseball teams shifted against Yandy Diaz 1 time this year. Yes, I'm not kidding. As a percentage, he was shifted in 0.2% of his at-bats this year. That's absurd. Now, I know that the shift is getting banned next year, so this stat will be irrelevant, but in a year where the shift wasn't banned, it's funny to see a guy who won't see much of a difference in terms of defenses played against him. When you have an on-base percentage in the 400 and above range, like Yandy Diaz, you can usually assume that their chase rate ranks among the game's best, and that statement is true for Yandy, as he ranks in the 97th percentile. In terms of whiff rate, which is swinging at pitches outside of the zone, he ranks in the 96th percentile. Nearly identical whiff and chase rates, while maintaining a walk and strikeout percentage that is in the 98th and 97th percentile respectively. That was a lot of numbers I just threw out there, so let's simplify it down. Basically, if you were a pitcher in Major League Baseball and you had to face Yandy Diaz, just know that he isn't going to swing at anything outside of the zone, he will take the walk when he gets the chance, and is extremely hard to strike out. When he does swing the bat, just keep in mind that he is going to hit the ball as hard and as frequently as anybody. Would you be up for the challenge? I know I wouldn't. It makes a lot of sense that Yandy Diaz saw a majority of his time this year in the leadoff spot. I think I'm starting to find a trend in the players I personally find fascinating. In a game where strikeouts are at an all-time high and walks are at an all-time low, it's refreshing to see old-timey players that find ways to get on, the quote, moneyball players, if you will. I really like the way that Yandy Diaz plays baseball. He doesn't need home runs to find his OPS in the 800s, which is very impressive. Walking more than striking out, hitting less than 10 home runs, hitting for a high average, and reaching base at a high frequency are just all attributes that I find fascinating in players in modern baseball. It might be unfair to compare the two, but Yandy Diaz looked to be doing his best Tony Gwynn impression this year. And while it isn't close to an identical comparison, it's still an interesting comparison nonetheless. I'll be looking forward to seeing what Yandy Diaz is capable of in 2023 and beyond. He is definitely a major contributor to the Rays offense, and hopefully more and more people will start to take notice of the great things that he's been able to accomplish in the 6 years he's been at the Major League level thus far. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.